Ladies and gentlemen, I know this sounds cheesy, but you know that song from 1982 from the Pointer Sisters called I'm So Excited? Well, I'm being honest. I got into this research and I became really, really excited. I know that sounds cheesy, but I'm actually super excited about this. And I try not to create hype. As the saying goes, we'll let the research speak for itself. But I'll give you one little clue, and that is if you're really old school and remember the transition from MapQuest to like Google Maps and how huge that was, then guess what, guys? You want to stick around to the very end of this outline and see how we connect all of this and see how much Hedera would be in regards to tapping into this particular industry. Smash the like if you haven't done so already. Wow, it's been a while since we covered Hedera HBAR, but man, what a time to be back to cover it with you guys today. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So look at this. This is straight from Generation Infinity. Why is this important? Let's jump into this. Well, they posted this not that long ago, but it's in regards to discovering how Neuron World and this company called QuickPick is pioneering D-pins on Hedera, revolutionizing tracking, infrastructure, and even logistics. Now, you guys know me. I cover Jasmy quite a bit, do I not? What's one of the main things that stands out in regards to Jasmy? Well, it's in regards to Junction, AI times D-pin. But they're not the only ones that have the whole thing in regards to D-pin. So this caught my attention, and as we get into the outline, further into it, wow. I'm telling you flat out, Hedera is really going to surprise the living heck out of some people, and especially ones that are complaining about the price. What a great time to get into it, but I get it. You got to see more. So let's jump into this. Let's full screen this. Let's take you into this. So this is from Genfinity, and they talk about this D-pin aim. Why is this such a big deal, basically speaking? Well, it says that D-pin aims to disrupt what, guys? The traditional paradigms by enabling a wide array of applications across various sectors, including, of course, IoT. Hence why I give that Jasmy example earlier. IoT, as we know, is the Internet of Things, streaming networks, ride hailing, local service discovery. Furthermore, neurons, and listen to this, guys, it's going to get really good. Everything Map serves as a centralized hub where users can explore, connect, pay for, and secure services within the decentralized network, fostering a vibrant ecosystem of decentralized services. Ultimately, Neuron stands for the forefront, or at the forefront, of decentralized infrastructure innovation, leveraging cutting-edge technology to redefine how physical and digital resources are interconnected and, of course, accessed. Now, do they mention Hedera? Yep, they sure do. Look at this. By integrating the Hedera network, Neuron not only enhances security and efficiency of its operations, but also contributes to the broader adoption. Again, broader adoption, think of that, an evolution of decentralized infrastructure networks such as D-pin. Now, let's jump back to this for a second, okay? So I'm going to come back into the frame. That statement about an everything map. Now, you guys know me. I cover the likes of Stellar, XLM, and so on. And in that real huge deep dive where you saw Elon Musk in the thumbnail, and it says Stellar AI or XLM AI, one of the key things that we mentioned was the connections of Jed McCaleb and Elon Musk is a lot more than just vast, right? Yeah, we give you like 7 or 8 examples. But now we're talking about Hedera. And now we're not just talking about, the whole thing of a everything app, but everything map. Again, think about Google for a second, okay? Think about how huge Google Maps is. I mean, literally everybody uses it. Whether you're a fan of Google Maps or not, everybody uses it. But there was a period of time where we all used MapQuest, okay? Again, I'm going to get a little bit more into this. You'll be glad you stuck around. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but guys, I'm telling you, this is good stuff. I mean, what a time to be a HBAR holder. Really, it is. And if you're not into HBAR, you're on the cusp of maybe getting into it, but you heard a bunch of nonsense, at least listen to this outline and come to your own, conclusion. Okay, so let's full screen this. Let's jump back into this. So the everything map, right? Let's go to neuron.world. Why is this important? Well, in this example, they get into the nitty gritty about the whole thing of this everything map. And in this demo, if you will, they talk about some key things that just kind of blew me away, right? Beta applications are now closed. Listen to this. You want to be bullish. You want to have supply and demand kicked in when it comes to Hedera HBAR and understand the bigger picture. Read this for yourself, guys. I'll read it out loud just in case, you're driving down the road, right? Shout out to all the people that listen to the program. Our beta program was overwhelmed with applications and was oversubscribed within just 2 hours of opening. Applicants will be notified shortly if they were successful. And of course, it says more info, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. But here's the thing, 2 hours, again, supply and demand, guys. I mean, I don't even have to jump more into this, technically speaking, to understand how big of a deal this is. But what exactly does this company, which is referred to as Neuron, what do? Well, they are open source. They are a public network. They build and they connect services. Their mission, guys, listen to this, is to improve the performance, cost, and robustness of service networks and to reduce the risk associated with using intermediaries. Now, back to the whole thing about DeepIn. Neuron can support a range of DeepIn use cases, including physical resources such as flight tracking. Think about that for a second. Digital resource networks such as video streaming and human resource networks such as food delivery. Wow, what a big all-in-one platform. And they talk about how it works. So how does this really work? Well, the Neuron SDK, which if you're wondering, if you're not a nerd, that means software development kit, turns every device into a node in its global network. Think about that for a second. Every device into a node. Isn't this like the perfect example of utility in motion? Yes, it is. This allows users to buy and sell services from one another without the need for intermediary. And of course, they have this whole thing of, number one, customer software applications can discover devices and services via the Neuron Network Explorer. That sounds like IoT to me. How does it connect? Customer software applications connect to service providers directly, peer-to-peer, via a UDP. Number three, you guys want to see transactions happen, right? Customers pay service providers using an escrow service to help protect their money and ensure service levels are met. Number four, to protect. In the case of a dispute, our dispute resolution service can be called upon to decide clearance of a payment. What are some of the other benefits of this? Well, basically speaking, building on Neuron Network provides software applications and their users with a series of advantages over traditional server-based networks. Right, it's got to be different from the typical thing that we've seen in the past, but they solve the problem in regards to performance, robustness, cost, and even risk. In regards to performance, their serverless architecture, which is architected to the same as peer-to-peer gaming, for example, provides user with near real-time connection speeds and latencies less than 1/10 of a server-based network. Awesome. They have apps. I'm going to get more into some of that here in a bit. But some of the other use cases is really, really cool. For example, digital resources such as VPNs, mobility, energy services as far as the physical ones. How about human resources, ride sharing? Come on. We're going to break into the whole thing of, like what Uber does and Lyft. So that's big. All right, I thought that was really, really big, and I'm going to jump over to the next part of this. So this is another one from Generation Infinity. Will the everything map be built on Hedera network? Well, yeah, absolutely. And as we get further into the outline, look what Neuron World posts about this. Yeah, you read that right, guys. Look at this. The leading DeepIn infrastructure on Hedera. Yes, Hedera. There's no shadow of a doubt. For building, finding, and connecting services. This might very well be, guys, one of the biggest deals, at least in my opinion, when it comes to the Hedera ecosystem. And as we know, Hedera isn't a blockchain, right? The hash graph consensus algorithm right? It's a, as Dr. Lehman Bear has mentioned, it's a gossip protocol, right? So interesting to see something like this built into the ecosystem. All right, jumping more into this. The everything map of trusted services. Now, where's the location? It's in London. Okay, not a huge following, but I like what is mentioned here. So there is a lot of popular demand for Neuron, apparently. And here's some examples. Another 24 sensors they mentioned should be going live over the next, 2 weeks, installed by their exceptional group of beta program participants. This was posted on July 9th. Why is this so significant? Well, I live in Phoenix, but I used to go out to LA every couple years. Fun town. Wouldn't want to live there. But yeah, first sensor live in LA. Now trackable at 4dsky.com via Neuron World. That looks like a lot of things being tracked to me. What about when this thing kicks into full utility in motion? Oh my goodness. Do we have another example? Yes, we do. So that was LA. Well, let's take a look into the whole state. State of what? Florida. Sensors now popping up. They posted this on June 23rd. Florida is now lit up with aircraft on 4dsky.com connected directly to this particular platform. And look at that. Man, I mean, that's a lot to keep track of. Absolutely. All right, where am I really going with this, right? Well, we're going to get to there in a bit. But here's another example. This time a different country. This is Australia. Who would have thought that planes could fly upside down? That sounds crazy. Congratulations to their first Aussie sensor host. Plenty more to come. And of course shows what's going on in regards to Neuron World and how it has flight tracking sensors on 4 continents. And like it says, that was quick. Yeah, it's quick, especially when you guys went beta and within 2 hours or 3 hours, where the case be, it was full already. My God. All right, check this out. So this thing is part of this, other project. Because let's face it, guys, when it comes to blockchain and DLT, how many times we see examples, even like Quant, right? You have Project Hamilton, Dunbar, Enbridge, Rosalind. Well, guess what? Hedera is even part of some of these projects. Let's talk about Project Blueprint for just a brief moment and understand the bigger picture of why this is so bullish for all of us that are into Hedera HBAR. Let's go ahead and full screen this. All right, so Project Blueprint. Those trials lay groundwork for what? Open architecture UK UTM system. This was posted June 28th, not that long ago. But you even have Philip Hicks, who's partner at Campaign Catapult and principal consultant and founder of Provo Consulting, reports on the latest milestones achieved by industry drone and sensor experts and academics in the pursuit of mixed-use airspace and safe operations beyond visual line. Now, what's crucial to understand here with the findings is this. The UK UTM system. Let's face it, probably most of us don't know about this, and that's okay. But I want to talk about this for a brief moment. So, in my own notes, from what I gathered, the Universal Transverse Mercator, which is UTM system, basically is a map. Think about that for a second. A map projection system that divides the Earth's surface into 60 zones. Now, why is this important? Trust me, it gets good. Each 6 degrees of longitude wide for assigning coordinates to locations. The zones are numbered from 180-degree longitude and increased eastward. To specify location, basically, you would need to provide a zone number and the X and Y coordinates in that zone's plane. Okay. How does UK UTM zone is part of the whole mix? Well, hear me out. So there's UK's UTM zone, and it's OSGB36 is the exact coordinate, apparently. And that's basically known as the British National Grid. The UK's national grid has an advantage over the global UTM coordinate system. Think about that for a second. Because it removes the boundary between UTM zones 29 and 30. I know it sounds maybe not as exciting as some of the other stuff you've heard, but it's a great example. Listen to this. UTM systems have been used in the UK for drone approvals, allowing apps like Altitude, Angel, that's what it's called, to submit and receive digital flight authorizations. Has that not caught your attention? The UK Department for Transport, which is identified as DFT, also commissioned projects to develop an open access UAS traffic management, which is called the UTM system. Now, this is where it gets really, really good. Here's the problem. Some say that implementing UTM requires cooperation between government and industry at multiple levels, and that current dependencies between UTM technologies, standards, and regulations prevent any one level from fully maturing. Okay, so is this a big giant nothing burger? Why is Max so excited about some of this stuff? It gets really, really good. Why is that? Well, basically it's like this. We know that the UTM, which is called Universal Transverse Mercator, is a coordinate system. You just learned that. But it's a method to locate points on the Earth's surface. But guess what? It's a global standard. Yeah. So, I see where Max is going with that. He always talks about these darn ISO standards. Yep, you better believe that's where I'm going with it. So it's not just specific to the United Kingdom. So there's more value outside the UK? Of course. That's why I showed you the whole thing of LA. That's why I showed the whole thing of the state of Florida, Australia, and so on. But back to the whole thing about the UK for a brief moment, because UK has this thing called geospatial data, and it's the underpinning of the UK's UTM implementation. Back to the whole thing of like, this could be a problem. But even though there's maps, and even though there's elevation models with those maps, there's other geographic information, and basically this would likely adhere to ISO standards. Yes, those beloved ISO standards. So what ISO standard is actually involved with this? And you know me, I'm going to look into it. So it's basically ISO 19115, which is part of geospatial metadata. Let's take you over that for a brief moment, right? Because somebody's going to ask about it at some point. So what you're going to see here from that is this right here. And we have full screen this. Excuse me. So ISO 19115, what does it say? Geographic information, metadata. Has some fundamentals that are posted. But this standard was last reviewed and confirmed in 2019. And it remains what? The current standard. Now, there's been 2 amendments, but still the current standard. That's what's crucial to understand. Now, jumping over here, what about ISO 19115 and the UK standards? You're going to love this. Geospatial identifiers and metadata. These standards support the discovery and identification of data that represent or contain geospatial objects or features. Geospatial data is described using the Gemini metadata standard. Gemini is the United Kingdom's profile of the international ISO 19115 standard for geospatial metadata. When was the last time it was cited? A few months ago, April 15, 2024, and it comes from where? Gov.uk. Remember, if you guys have been following me on Quant, we cited them because, you know, a certain key thing. If you haven't seen that video, I'm not going to spill beans on it, right? So, very cool to share that, right? But it gets even better. Let's now jump over to some more examples. So, earlier I showed you some of the other things about what's popping off all over the place. Like we have, for example, Florida, right? Just showing you again, just in case you missed it. And then also, when you go over to understanding more about Neuron, again, back to the whole thing about the beta program. Why is that important? Well, basically speaking, it's because they have an update. The response to the beta program has been overwhelming with over 30 applicants, okay? And it talks about that, basically speaking, in the first 3 hours after its opening, they have therefore taken the decision to double the number of participants to 60 in order to try to involve as many people as possible. Those are good problems, you guys. Let's just be honest. says, welcome to the Neuron Beta program. Here you can find information about professional flight tracking network, beta launch. And guys, look at this. First DPIN use case built on the Neuron network and connected to what? Hedera? Wow. Okay, cool. And look at some of these demos. This is super cool. This is high-end stuff. Look at how they got that all zooming in and stuff. Man, this don't seem like some, flash in the pan, low budget thing going on here, right? I mean, they got a lot going on. All right, let's share a little bit more in regards to this, because I know I could get pretty hyped up about some of this stuff, and I'm not really trying to necessarily hype this up. I just provide research, but sometimes the research does kind of hype it for itself. So here's a fantastic video like they posted. I'm not going to play the music because I don't want the copyright thing to be an issue, but they talk about their friends at SkyDrones.com, okay? And look what it says. They power drones for enterprise. Enterprise. See how this all comes in? See how it all comes full circle? Don't you just love this? So it says in the drone, on the ground, in the cloud, at the Project Blueprint, back to Blueprint, showcase event where they demonstrated their new collision alerting system powered by Neuron World. And of course, 4D Sky app. And I just showed you, I think, a little bit about that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to comment as we go through this. And, they have events for this, basically. And here's Project Blueprint. Showcase event started on the 25th of June. So, again, guys, not that long ago. Just a couple weeks ago, basically. This was at Cranefield Airport. Don't ask me where that is. Some of you guys might know where that's at. But that's beside the point. But basically speaking, I mean, you kind of see some of the demos. They're sharing this with other people, maybe investors, and you have this guy. His name is Kirill Shilov, if I'm pronouncing it right. He's the founder and CEO of SkyDrones. And of course, having all this tied into the Hedera ecosystem, I mean, that sounds super cool. I love aviation. My dad and I are huge fans of it, and back in the days we used to go to air shows and whatnot. But, look at this UAV operator, UAV manufacturer, UAV avionics manufacturer as well. Going further into this is only like maybe a couple minutes. I'll show just a little bit more about this. You have this guy, Yuri Stelmach. He's the CCO of SkyDrones Technologies. He's trying to show you guys like some of these examples. Look at this, Airlink. It's a component of the ecosystem. It's an actual device. But look at this. Look how, like, understanding how they're going to track this. Remember how we talked about IoT? So this is an IoT device. But again, part of the Hedera ecosystem. Man, this sounds cool. All right, look at this. They're going to show you some more about, the bigger picture of it and so on, and what they're going to do. Here's a SkyDrone, the X700. Some of the software engineers part of this whole mix. Very, very cool to see some of this, in my opinion. All right, look at this. Look at that on the far left. I mean, this is no like low budget thing, in my opinion, at all. I mean, this is high tech, next level, architecture, if you will. A lot of interesting people or interested people to see what's going on with this. So it does seem like it's a very, very big deal. All right, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. They're just demoing it and so on. So, you have an idea of how this all comes in. And this is the part I don't want to, skip over. UK Innovate. All right. Innovate UK, I should say. Now, why is that so important to understand, why I freeze the frame right here? All right. You're going to love this. This is me going the extra mile for you guys. So look at this, guys. Look how this came full circle. Back to gov.uk. Yep, you read it right. Innovate UK. So all this concern, just in case there's somebody who's going to FUD this and be like, well, all this stuff has to happen first. At the very end of that video that you just saw from Neuron, right? And then to see the citation from Innovate UK and how Innovate UK is what? Part of the UK research and innovation. Oh, yeah. Documents, guidance and regulation. Guidance and regulation. I don't even have to dig deeper into that because we already know it's there. Why waste your time with it? All right, let's take to the next part. Remember at the beginning outline, there was the whole thing about Quick Pick? Well, Quick Pick is a Web3 powered app that lets you enjoy easy, reliable, and quick point-to-point delivery as a service for all kinds of package delivery needs anywhere. All right, what's the big deal, Max? Well, here's a little bit more about it. Here's the big deal. So it is a Web3 on-demand marketplace application that helps retail consumers and vendors in underserved regions become more common, overcome common delivery challenges by leveraging, you read that right, the Hedera DLT and a token economy to incentivize all stakeholders to optimally maintain a distributed peer-to-peer delivery network that enforces, I like that statement, enforces faster, trackable, affordable, and efficient delivery service for customers. Basically, in a nutshell, this is like, Grubhub, Uber, and even getting people's farms involved. Yeah, you're going to see a little bit about that. Look at this. They believe the timing for Quick Pick is right due to the huge gap in last mile delivery infrastructure, the rising need for demand services, and the increasing commerce penetration in underserved region, which is rising by annual growth rate of 20%. What's their vision? Well, empower communities through sustainable commerce. And look at this. Here's another part about their mission. They build to drive efficient logistics, supply chain, payment infrastructures by leveraging blockchain and other eco-friendly technologies to revolutionize retail and e-commerce businesses in order to propel and reward sustainable commerce in underserved regions. Come on, guys. We always talk about XDC and VeChain and Morpheus Network. Oh, those are the only ones that are going to do anything when it comes to trade. Guess what? There's other parts of that mix, and that's not me fudding in. I love those projects, especially XDC. I hold XDC. But to see Hedera part of the mix, that's cool. Not every day we get to talk about Hedera with trade. So we're pointing out in that regard. Let's jump over here to Quick Pick real quick, and look what it says. That's right. It says specifically here to do what? Send and receive packages, order food, groceries, and farm produce instantly with Quick Pick. Web3 powered on-demand marketplace for package delivery, food ordering, farm produce. Farm produce? I mean, man, that sounds cool. People that want to get that fresh organic right straight from the farm and groceries built on what? Hedera? You got to be kidding me. Look at this for a second. So this is why you saw at the very beginning of the outline, this being cited with Neuron. Think about it, it makes sense. At the end of the day, the two, like Forrest Gump and Jenny, they go together like peas and carrots. You can literally see it in the visuals. How cool is that? All right, don't waste an extra minute dealing with hassles. Ensure reliable tracking or trackable on-demand services with friendly customer service on the go. On-demand delivery, pickup or drop-off parcels within the hour, an affordable price within their, on-demand delivery service. I mean, when I look at this, guys, I think to myself, all right, you literally have the, what is it? Amazon connection, if you will, like Amazon Prime to a sense. You got a little bit of that Uber Eats. You got Lyft. You got, all these different sectors, UPS, FedEx. I mean, this is an all-in-one thing. And built on Hedera? Wow. That is what I am talking about, guys. That's why I want to share it with you guys. All right, before we wrap this up, you got to hear this. This is good stuff as well. How will Quick Pick send and receive package, order food, groceries, and farm produce instantly, and then use that data, hear me out, with Hedera's hash graph consensus algorithm? I'd be asking that. If I was you guys, I would totally be asking that. So here's the answer, basically. This is my notes. It's like this. They will do it all by leveraging Hedera hash graph for instantaneous transactions. Now, this is the good stuff, okay? So understanding that this is all the challenge. Quick Pick in itself aims to provide instant services for package delivery, food, grocery, farming, right? Farm ordering, and so on. You better believe it's going to require a system that can handle high transaction throughput, volumes, ensure data integrity, provide real-time updates. Hedera's hash graph meets all those needs for it. So it offers potential solution to, of course, meet these needs and challenges, right? In this overview, I want to talk about some of this stuff. So as we know, with this app from QuickPick, you can, as a customer, place orders through that particular app. And then you saw, plain as day, it's built on what? Built on Hedera. How cool is that? So there's order details like how many items did I order? How many, what's the quantity? What's the delivery address? What's the payment information? Is it encrypted? Yes, but it's also hashed. The hash data, listen to this, guys, is submitted to Hedera network for consensus. Don't you love how this all comes together? Upon consensus, order is confirmed and a unique transaction ID is generated. That is utility put into motion, my friends. Do we have real-time tracking? Yes, we got real-time tracking. You could package food. You could even have produce be picked up. And the best part of the whole mix is how this all comes together. Real-time location, GPS, and other relevant details. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because we saw a UAV, for crying out loud, that goes up in the sky. I mean, shout out to you guys that play Call of Duty and stuff, get the 3-kill streak calling UAV on Call of Duty 4, right? But this is different, right? We're talking about people's food. But real-time location and how that's even hashed. The hash data is, of course, submitted to Hedera, again, for consensus. And updates are pushed to the QuickPick app for customer visibility. Now, listen to this. 2 more things I want to get into. This is great. Delivery and confirmation. Upon delivery, proof of delivery, for example, signing it, photos, and so on, it's all automated. That is captured. That data is encrypted, right? Because we talked about IoT. It's hashed and, again, submitted to the Hedera network. The order status is updated through what? The actual app. The QuickPick app. QuickPick. I pronounced that right. All right, so what about settlement? Things got to get processed. Great question. I'm with you. Payment information is encrypted, then hashed before submission to the Hedera network. Smart contracts, because somebody's going to mention that at some point, can be deployed on Hedera to automate payment processing based on order status, for example, payment release upon delivery confirmation, and so on. Now, while that sounds great, and you think, well, you just listed all the benefits. Well, not quite. Hear me on this. There's at least 5 things I want to get into in regards to why this is such a big deal. So it is the benefits of the Hedera hash graph. So for one, as we know, Hedera's Byzantine fault tolerance, which is the ABFT, because asynchronous, if you will, consensus mechanism enables for near instantaneous transaction finality, crucial, as we know, for real-time tracking and updates and so on. There is, of course, security that's involved with it because it has a cryptographic, hashing and encryption to ensure data integrity and, of course, privacy. Now, what happens when we get to mass adoption when it comes to this? Are we going to have problems when it comes to scalability? The answer is no. Here's why the answer is no. Hedera in itself can handle, as we know, high transaction volumes, essential for a platform like QuickPick. Now, it's been comparable to the TPS of Solana. But as we know with Solana, that network goes down. Hedera doesn't. And that's a beautiful thing. And if anything, the fees are even lower than compared to Solana. This in itself creates even that much more supply and demand for smart contracts, and especially being written on the hash graph consensus algorithm. That's awesome. 2 things. Would it create a sense of decentralization? Yes. The distributed nature of Hedera reduces reliance on a single point of failure. That's why I was pointing out the whole example with Solana. There is more than one single point of failure, unfortunately. What about transparency? Well, all transactions, as we know, are recorded on the public ledger, providing transparency and auditability. That's awesome. So the last part I want to talk about, which is crucial to understand, and maybe you get tired of it, is tokenization. Hear me out. QuickPick could very well potentially use Hedera's native token, and I think they are. I mean, why be built into the ecosystem and not, go about using it? So Would it use HBAR or create its own token for loyalty programs, rewards, or other incentives? Whatever the case be, it's a win for Hedera. That's what's crucial to understand. Now, I'm going to jump into this, and it's basically this thing about the bigger picture, if you will. So, we talked about this and how huge it basically is. And the thing I want to point out to all you guys is, in the end, how big of an opportunity is this really? I mean, we're talking about some, disrupting big, huge industries like Amazon and UPS and, some of these other things, right? Uber, Lyft. Well, at the end of the day, let's give you guys an example in the trillions as far as the bigger opportunity. Let's share this. Excuse me. So this is from Indeed, capturing the 1.2 trillion opportunity in commercial drones industry by 2030. This was written February this year. It says the commercial drone market is taking flight, propelled by advancements in technology and a surge in diverse applications. Think about that. Diverse applications. Did I just not give you one of the best examples of a diverse application? It says across various industries. The article delves into the current landscape. And I can get super into this, but I like the idea that it talks about the key players and the regional outlook. Now look at this, guys. This is really, really good. You want an idea of how huge Hedera is going to get to? And again, in my opinion, this just scratches the surface. So look at this, guys. The global commercial drone market size was valued at USD, United States dollars, of 20.8 billion back in 2021. Look at the growth on this. It is expected to reach US dollars of 1.2 trillion, because as we know, 1,205 billion is 1.2 trillion by 2030. So 1.2 trillion by 2030. Look at this. Growing at a CAGR of 57% during the forecast period of 2022 to 2030, says Straits Research. This growth is fueled by what? Rising demand. You don't think you saw demand? 2 hours? This thing was ready, filled up, and they had to have a backup plan. I mean, my God. But anyway, rising demand for aerial photography, guys. Think about how this is tied into Hedera. All those examples we gave you in regards to Neuron. So rising demand for aerial photography, mapping. Yes, that's right. You read that right. Mapping, surveying, delivery, inspection, other innovative applications. Drones are transforming industries, offering greater efficiency, cost effectiveness, and access to previously unreachable areas. That's what I'm talking about, guys. This is awesome stuff. All right. So I don't want to necessarily do all these examples all the time, because I know some people, they see this and they're like, I don't know. All right. So I'm actually going to share this tab instead. So let's talk about this. We gave you the example of $1.2 trillion. So the reason I'm showing you this is that BTC, currently speaking, has a market cap of $1.2 trillion. Now, some people are going to point out that, there's no way that Hedera is going to do all of what you were portraying in regards to, this, right? This market. And I get that, all right? But again, as Hedera grows and the overall crypto market grows, well, is that too far off? So again, let's think about the example. So we're going to jump over to HBAR with the market cap of BTC, because as we saw, again, just in case you lost it, that BTC has what? Has a market cap of one. I can't really highlight it because it'll click over to BTC, but it has a 1.142 market cap. Okay, so just slightly above this. All right, so jumping back, HBAR with the market cap of BTC is $31.85. That's a 472.75x from where we're currently at, because as we know, Hedera is sitting at what, guys? You see on the screen on the top left, a 0.067378 price valuation. Okay. Well, that's a lot to get to, right? To get to $31.85. And I personally think that HBAR would be worth way more than this if I hold it long enough. Okay. All right. That's just capturing this particular sector. You get what I'm saying? So I get it. People say, well, it's not going to do it all. Okay, fair enough. Hey, I'm right ahead of you guys. All right, let's jump back to another example. Share this tab instead. What about Solana? Why am I sharing Solana? Here's why. Because what is 5% of 1.2 trillion? 5% of 1.2 trillion comes out to be, let's see here, 3 zeros, 6 zeros, 9 zeros, and a number behind it or in front of it would be a billion. So 1 billion, so 60 billion. 5% of 1.2 trillion is 60 billion. What example can I give you? All right. I hear you guys. I'm not deaf, right? I mean, just because I can't hear what you're saying, you get what I'm saying. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over to here and look at here, Solana. So I'm not going to use USDC as an example. That's too far down. But Solana is sitting at $64 billion market cap. Okay. All right. Now you got my attention, Max. Okay. I hope, I do. Let's jump over to here. HBAR with the market cap of Solana, because we know that Solana is roughly a little bit above that $60 million market cap. Well, HBAR with the market cap of Solana is $1.80. That's 26.79x. I mean, is anybody really complaining about getting a 27x? For me, I wouldn't want to hold HBAR longer than that. That's just me, but you got to do what you got to do. That's not too shabby. And again, that is just this sector, guys. This doesn't count everything else that Hedera HBAR is connected to. Do you not understand the bigger picture? Do not listen to some of these. I don't want to call any names, but they're saying that this stuff is going to go to zero. Why is some of these guys stating this? This is ridiculous. They haven't done any proper research. All right. Now let's jump over to this. The moment you've been waiting for, because we talked about maps. This is huge. All right. So let's take you over to this. Look at this for a second. MapQuest was the first commercial web mapping service when it launched in 1996 and was supported by America Online, a market leader at the time. However, Google Maps eventually overtook MapQuest. I remember using MapQuest in the late 90s, okay? That's what I used before Google Maps, and I used it for probably 3 or 4 years. And then, I saw that Google Maps was so much better, so I transitioned to that. I highly doubt if we had, for example, 100 people, only 100 people to watch the video. Obviously, there's going to be more. That out of the 100 people, that there would honestly be more than maybe 1 or 2 people out of the 100 that would still use MapQuest, right? You're using Google Maps. Let's just be honest about that. Even your phone. Why would you bother to use your phone, which is already built into Google, right? And then all of a sudden decide, well, no, I don't like that. I'm just going to switch it over to MapQuest. Most likely you're not doing that. You're not that loyal to MapQuest, right? So a little bit more about what this says. Basically speaking, talks about the bigger picture. So, Google Maps eventually overtook MapQuest, and basically, as of May 2015, only 1 in 20 smartphone users had MapQuest mobile app compared to every 20 who had Google Maps. So my example, I guess you could say that's a good example. I wasn't too far off. So as of February 2024, Google Maps has over 1 billion active users per month. Wow. Look at this for a second. MapQuest's long history. It obviously does and still claims remarkably 38 million monthly users, which could be overstated. By comparison, Google Maps has more than 1 billion users globally, according to the company. Verizon ended up with MapQuest as part of its AOL acquisition in 2015. Now, this is what I want you to leave you guys with. Think about what I just said. So in our quant examples, we talked about, for example, that thing that you saw cited, I think it was from 2018. And it shows a side-by-side comparison. Talking about Web 2.0 or Web 2.5, whatever the case be. Technically, right now we're in 2.5. So back then, Web 2. And basically, You know, the World Wide Web is connected to information. That's www. WWL would be the worldwide ledger. Okay. What that also said, think about this. Google Maps is still part of the Web 2 side of things, or Web 2.5 and so on. And I'm sure Google is going to get innovative with things. All right. Is Hedera, with these connections, what they got building out in their ecosystem, are they going after the WWL, if you will, right? The worldwide ledger of maps. That's where I'm going with this. And if anything, hopefully you understand the analogy of why I think it's a huge, huge deal. Does this cover everything that Hedera does? Absolutely not. But to see something like this wasn't mentioned enough. Again, another thing that flew under the radar. So glad to bring you guys this research. It was fun. I was looking at this and I was like, man, I am so glad that I hold Hedera HBAR. God bless you all. Hope you guys have a great weekend. My weekend consists of doing research and work and so on, and that's okay. I'm glad to do it. Guys, I'm really grateful to each and every one of you guys. Smash a like if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you really appreciate the content, share it with others where they can come join the Maximus Crypto community. Hope to be back with you guys next week for some live shows again. I missed that. I know you guys missed it too. We'll see you on the next one. Over and out. Some of you guys ask what cold storage solution I use. I use this, and it is the Decent wallet. All right. I also, of course, have a ledger like this. All right. You can get a discount basically from going into the affiliate link, which is in all the live video descriptions and recorded and so on. And for the yahoos that are out there, they're like, this is just a shield. And, you know, we'll fix point this out. And it's a great point. Were you aware that you don't necessarily get a discount link just going straight to the site? No, you actually have to go through a platform like this. So how cool is that? You know, I don't think anybody's complaining about that. But anyway, use the link, get a discount. There's another one here. If you're the type of person you want to get one for you and your, you know, significant other, you can get two of them. They actually have another promotion, which is this. And I think this is cool. You can get an all-in-one card wallet plus backup card package. Interesting. I thought that was cool. And again, one of the main key things I like about the Decent wallet is not having to do the red tape of, you know, jumping through all the hoops for XDC and the custom folder. I mean, Edward Vincent can vouch on that. Some of you guys can too as well in regards to ledger. That was a pain in the butt. You don't have that problem. You literally open up your phone, it's on your app, track everything that's going on, right? And, you know, saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. You know the drill. Check it all out, though, if you wish to do so. It is truly the cold storage solution that I use for the most part. There's still some on Ledger that, you know, I kind of split it up on it and so on. So it is what it is. But if I have preference over one, I'm going with this one. A lot easier to use and so on. And some people, even to this day, still ask me which one to use.